Hello, this is Ashee from Crafting with Ashee, and welcome to this Christmas card making tutorial. This is the lovely card we're making featuring the fracture technique and the technique of heat embossing. I just love how this card turned out. You've got the fracture technique in the background to give added interest. And this is the stamp set we're going to use. It's called Merry Christmas, very aptly named. And we're going to heat emboss this, and I love a big bold sentiment. So I think this is a great card, a great stamp set to use for lots of different types of Christmas cards. So now I'm just using my powder tool to put down some powder on my basic white cardstock, and we're going to start with Versamark ink. And I put the powder down so that my embossing powder will only stick where there's Versamark ink. So now we've inked that up, and I'm going to give it a good press down on our stamping tool, and then I'm going to lift it up. I'm having a look at it, and I'm going to have do another stamp just for good luck. And this is the beauty of a stamping tool. You can do this. Give it another good press. And there's my Versamark. You can see it's been well loved and used, but it still works fine. So now I'm going to work over a coffee filter. I'm using gold embossing powder. I'm just going to cover that. And just give it a second coat to make sure we haven't missed any areas. Just give it a tap from the back. And that looks pretty good to me. So now I'm going to attempt to put this embossing powder back in my little tub. Not always the best, but I do have a little hoover that I use, a tiny little hoover that I use on the top. I can get rid of any embossing powder on my desk. And here I'm just using a paintbrush to get rid of any powder that's stuck where I don't want it to be, but there wasn't very much. So now I'm going to give my stamp a clean before it starts to stick to everything. And I'm just using the simple chamois, one of my favourite crafting tools in the craft room. And let's put this back in its little home. There we go, before we lose it. And we'll get rid of the stamping tool. And now we're going to be ready to do a little bit of heat embossing. So, that's the Merry Christmas stamp set. As I said, it's a photopolymer set. And at the moment they come with the stamp cases, but now they've started to come in a different form of packaging, as you'll see later. So let's start the heat embossing, as I said. And my heat tool I'm going to use here, it has a few settings, but I'm going to use the highest setting, and I'm going to let it heat up away from my craft mat. And then when it's nice and heated, I'll take it to the stamp and heat emboss it. And here you can see by the magic of video editing, it's all beautifully heat embossed. And you can see here I've cut it out using my trimmer, and it's all ready to go. So I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to work on the rest of our card. So our card base here is cherry cobbler. It's not our card base. I am going to mount my sentiment on a piece of cherry cobbler, I was meant to say. And there you see, just gives it that lovely little something something. And then I'm going to use my scissors to just cut that out quickly. I've done this so many times that I can cut straight nowadays, or fairly straight, a proximity of straight with the scissors, and I think a long bladed scissors makes it much easier to cut straight, but you can just cut in one cut rather than lots of little cuts. Now you'll see our card base here is going to be basic white, so it's a thick basic white card base, a standard A6 card base. That's an A4 sheet cut in half and then folded in half. And now I'm going to do a little bit of tearing of our designer series paper. Now this DSP is the Elegance Pine Snowflake designer series paper, and I'm just going to tear out a little chunk in the middle, as you can see here. And I'm just lining it up to see how it's going to look. And then I'm going to mat it on another piece of the designer series paper. And you can see here I've got it. Now I'm just going to lay this flat. I'm trying to decide which pattern I want, but I'm going to go with the darker side. And I'm just going to stick this down with some glue, but you could also stick this down using some dimensionals, and we'll give it a real extra hit. But here I don't want it to be, because I'm going to pop up my sentiment. I really don't want my background popped up as well. So there you've got the fracture technique, where you can see just a peep of the other cardstock or other pattern paper through that fracture. Now I'm using a piece of my foam sheet here to pop this up. Now this isn't foam adhesive sheet, unfortunately. That's downstairs, and I don't film in my craft room, so I don't have any up here. I keep forgetting to bring it up, so I'm using this up, and this is a bit of a pain because it's not adhesive, so I have to put lots of seal down on my cardstock, put the foam down, and then lots more seal on top. But it does give a lovely even dimension, and that's why I do like to use the adhesive sheet, foam adhesive sheet. Now we're going to stick this all to our card base. There we go. And as you can see, it makes a very simple and easy card. If you can see here, I'm using wet glue, which is always good. It gives you a bit of wiggle room to line things up straight. Now here are some loose stars. These are a sequin mix that you can use for shaker cards, but here I'm going to use it just to embellish my card. And I'm just going to use the Take Your Pick tool, the sticky side, and I'm just going to take a little bit of Tombow here. I'm just going to dab a little bit here and there, and then I'm going to pick it up using my Take Your Pick tool, and we're going to have lots of little stars. And some of these stars are solid, some of them are just an outline, some are big, some are small. You can choose whatever you want on your card. So I should say here, if you've enjoyed this card making tutorial, please don't forget to give it a lovely thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And if there is anything you want to know more, like the supply list or measurements or anything like that, you will find it listed and linked not just there in the blog post, but also in the description box below. And in the description box below, you'll also find all of my social media links. I do have a Facebook group and such like, so do come and check it out. So there you go. There are our lovely cards. Now I'm just use these little triangle trays that I got online because they help me sort out my sequins easily. And you can see here how easy it is to pick it up and just put those in place. Now I'm going to just dump that back in my little pot. Very easy to do. Have a quick clear up and we are all done and dusted. There is our lovely card. I love all the shine on it. And there's the previous one. So thank you for joining me today, and until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye.